Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my June favorites for you guys, and I'm gonna just kind of get right into it since you all know how I like to ramble through these. The first thing I'm going to talk about is a skincare item, and it is the Eliza Vecca Milky Piggy Hell Pore Cleanup Mask. And I was on BuzzFeed, as you do, and I noticed they had a top whatever Korean beauty products that you should try, and this was on there, and it's basically a peel off mask that is supposed to help with exfoliating and pulling out impurities from your skin and stuff. And my skin, I think it's because I have been under like ultra ridiculous amounts of stress this month, but my skin has been going like absolutely crazy. And so I bought this actually before because it was just something that intrigued me and I like doing masks like this, but I found that it's been helping through the times where my skin is just like I don't know, like I said, I think it's just from like super crazy amounts of stress I've been going through this month. But yeah, so I like this because it's one of the few like black peel off masks that I can use that actually peels off. I usually, even if I'm doing my whole face, which I don't normally I only do it over problem areas, it's one of those masks that I find that I can pull like the whole thing off without it coming off in like little tiny strips, or like not at all where you like can't even start it because it's what, I don't know. I have problems with peel off masks sometimes, but I find this one really easy to use, and it's one of the, it's almost like a Biore strip where like when you peel it off you can see like stuff on it, but it's not as intense as a Biore strip, which you really shouldn't use anyways because they're not very great for your skin. This is much gentler and it's much easier coming off. It doesn't feel like you're like ripping off all your skin when you're trying to take it off. But for someone like me who gets breakouts, and like when they're not erupted yet, I guess, you know, when they're still relatively new, I can put this on. It'll kind of pull all that crap out of there without doing too much damage to the skin underneath. So I have been really enjoying that. The next thing I want to talk about is a brush, and it's super dirty right now because I love it, but it is the Real Techniques Duo Fiber Face Brush, and you guys have probably noticed, I love talking about brushes because I just like swing them around the whole time I'm talking about them. You guys have probably noticed that in my videos I've been using this lately to blend where my blush and bronzer, contour, whatever, meet the apples of my cheeks. I find that when you're placing blush and bronzer and whatever, you know, that's usually the part where it's gonna look the least blended. So I really like going over with a brush like this to just blend it all out. And I don't put any product on this or anything. It just, you know, I just run it over these parts of my face just to blend it out. And I don't know, I've been really enjoying it. I have a couple duo fiber brushes and this one's my favorite. It did come in a set, and I think the set was like 15 bucks, but I do think it's totally worth it. I use both of the other brushes that come in this set. I use the contour brush as my under eye blending brush. You can tell it's dirty AF and I need to clean it. Tomorrow's brush cleaning day. And then it came with the duo fiber eye brush, which I like to use for blending out underneath my eyes or blending out a cut crease. I do like all three of the brushes, but this one definitely this month has been my favorite. The next thing I want to talk about is the NYX Conceal Correct Contour Palette, and you guys have probably again seen me use this a few times lately, and that's because in the summer, especially, like the weather here has been crazy. It's been like 90 plus in Chicago quite a few days this month, and when the weather is like that, I like to use a lighter foundation so that when I'm sweating it off it's not as noticeable and it doesn't feel as gross on my skin. And since my skin has been the worst, I like to correct before I put that on so I don't have to use as much. I don't have to put as much concealer on top, and it keeps everything, again, from caking up or looking really weird when it starts to wear off. I really like this one because it's a little bit of a drier formula, and I find that I can set it lightly and it doesn't move underneath the foundation I put on top of it, as long as I'm not like rubbing really hard, but I really like it. I really only use the yellow and the pink here. I don't really use the other colors, but I still like it. I like it a lot. So there's that. On top of that, lately, this month, I have been back to using my L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte. I do randomly have a little bit of color, which, you know, I don't normally tan or put fake tanner on or anything because I like really can't be bothered, but I am in the shade 102 now of this. Generally, I'm in the shade 101, but now I can be in 102. But I've been loving to mix this with my Urban Decay One and Done. I love using this on its own. I love to mix it with the next thing I'm going to talk about, but I have just been really loving this. I love the way it sits on the skin. I love the way it lasts. I love that I don't necessarily have to set it, which is awesome, especially on the really, really super hot days where it's like the less product, the less layers you can put on your face, the better. So I've been really liking that. I've been loving to mix it with the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Liquid in Champagne Pop. I got this one, I got the eyeshadow palette, and I really like this tone for my skin. I really love mixing this in with foundation, especially a more matte foundation, and I just find that it gives such a nice glow. I am wearing it, but I'm also wearing like 1,000 tons of highlight on top of it, so you probably can't tell the difference, but I just really like it. Gives such, especially with a matte foundation, it gives such like a natural glow. So I love that I can use the Infallible and have the mattifying, you know, powers of it, and then also have the glow factor by just adding this in. I haven't really used it as a highlight straight itself. I tend to use the powder for that, but have been really, really enjoying this. I don't find that it makes my foundation break up or anything like that. So I do have Opal, and I find it to be a little bit dark for me to mix in like that, and so Champagne Pop is actually like perfect for my skin tone. The next thing I want to talk about, this pricey little baby right here, is the Kevyn Aucoin Neo Bronzer in Sienna, and it's just so pretty, guys. It's so pretty. It is highlight, blush, and contour, or bronze, whatever you want to use it for. This is cool enough that I could use it as a contour, and blending it into the blush like that makes it a nice bronzer. I just love this for summer. I love this because it is just like perfect summer colors. The bronzer is just slightly has a sheen to it, so it looks really natural on the skin. I love the gradient because sometimes, well, especially during the summer, I really like to use like a bronzy blush, which I'll talk about again in a minute. So I really like using like right in between these for my blush, and I love the highlight. It's more natural than I am used to, but I do like it for like every day. I could use this, you know, my whole extra face stuff could just be this palette because it's great for going to the office every day. You know, it's not something that's super in your face highlight, so it's really natural. I like it. I like using it as like a wider swath of highlight and then a more intense highlight just where I want it. Really awesome. I love the blush color. It's so beautiful, and yeah, I don't know, I've been really loving this. Like I say about everything in my favorites video, I just think it is beautiful. The quality is great. It blends just like a freaking dream. It's so good. It is pricey, but it's beautiful. The packaging is amazing, and I love every second of it. So this one's great if you have the means to pick it up. It's a good one. There is a different color that has a more cool tone pink to it, but it looked like the bronzer was a little bit warmer with that one, so I skipped it because the bronzer was really more what I was worried about. Basically, any blush I can make work for the most part, but the bronzer, if it was too warm, would be a disaster on my skin tone. So if you like a warmer bronzer, try the other one. I don't remember what it's called right off the top of my head. I thought I did for a second, but I don't. But yeah, beautiful. Love this. Again, sort of in conjunction with that, the other blush I have been loving this month is the Balm's Balm Desert. It is another one of those blushes that is almost a bronzer. you look at it just straight on and you're like, that could be a bronzer. But then if you look at it next to a bronzer, it's definitely more pink. So I don't know if this will work. I don't know if you can tell. You should be able to tell that there's definitely more pink in this one than there is in this one. When you use it with a bronzer, it makes just like a really nice all over bronzy, just slightly blushed cheek. I really like it. I'm wearing it today. I like how it really blends nicely into the bronzer, so it doesn't necessarily look like you're wearing a blush and a bronzer and whatever. It kind of just looks like sun-kissed bronze cheeks, and I like it. I like that it has a little bit of pink in it because it almost mimics the same kind of flush and tan you would get from the sun naturally. Because when you tan, your skin generally turns a little bit red, just especially if you're fair like me, just because that's kind of what the sun does. So really enjoying this. It blends beautifully. You don't need a lot. It's great. You can also use it as an eyeshadow. I like to do that too. The next things I want to talk about are these pure eye polishes. And I got Silk and Cashmere. And when I first got these, I got Cashmere and it was completely dry inside. So I wrote them an email and I was like, I don't think this is how it's supposed to be. And they sent me a new one. And then this one is also sort of dry, and you can kind of see, hang on, let me show you. You can kind of see that in the pan itself, you can kind of see cracks in there. And I have since put a little bit of the Inglot Duraline in there to see if it would help. And this one isn't completely dried up. I think it's just the texture of the shade, but it's still beautiful on the lid. And I really love putting this under more matte shadows because it gives just a nice sheen and it really brightens up the lid. And, you know, so I can look past it. I can add Duraline to this. The first one I wouldn't have been able to because it was like literally completely dried up. But this one is just like a little bit dry. And again, I think it's just the shade because this one is not like that at all. This one is like super liquidy. And I love using this one under more brown or bronze toned eyeshadows because it gives it like a rose gold look almost. But I do like using each of these on their own as well. I really like these. I think they're great for summer because they're kind of like foolproof. They don't crease on me. They blend really nicely and you can just kind of toss them on your eyes and go. The next thing I'm going to talk about, I don't know if I've talked about already in past favorites, but I'm going to talk about it again because again, it's like a perfect summer eyeliner, and it's the Marc Jacobs Highliner in Rococo, and I'm wearing it on my tightline and waterline today, and it's just a really nice bronzy brown, and so it gives like a little bit of sparkle in your waterline. And for me, with my hazelish, brownish, greenish eyes, it really brings out the green, which I'm always going for, so I love it. I love how these last in my eye area. They don't get everywhere. I put this and it stays until the end of the day. These are like by far the best eyeliners I've ever used ever. I can put them like just on my tightline and they won't transfer to my waterline, which for me and my oily eyelids and watery eyes is like unheard of. So I don't care that these are super expensive because they're like 25 bucks a piece because they're totally worth it. The last thing I want to talk about is a mascara, and it's the Maybelline Colossal Spider Effect Volume Express. I like this mostly specifically for the wand because my eyes are pretty small. A lot of the, it looks like this, a lot of the mascara wands that come with a great formula, like the wand is just way too big for my eyes and it's really hard to work with, and I end up just getting it like all over my face as I'm trying to put it on. So I really like how this one tapers to a point because I can get like the very inner lashes with this one. It holds a curl really nicely. I don't find that it flakes or anything. It is a little bit clumpy, but I use a lash comb to comb it out in between coats. And I don't know, I've been really liking it. But that is it for this month. I would love to know what you guys have been loving. I have been on a buying ban all month, which I did break, but we don't need to talk about that. Because I needed some skincare stuff because my face was, like I said, freaking out. But I would love to know what you guys have been loving, like I said, so that when my buying ban is over, I can buy it. But just, you know, what you guys have been loving for summer. If you're in summer, I know that not all of you are, but what you guys have been gravitating towards as the weather gets warmer. Love to know. Always on the lookout for amazing products that last through really hot weather. But yeah, I don't have any unfavorites this month. Now that I think about it, I can't even like think of anything, but that's probably because I haven't really bought anything to unfavorite. But yeah, let me know if there's other things you think I should steer clear from. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day wherever you're at. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in my next video. Oh, have a safe 4th of July if you're celebrating. Don't blow your face off with a firework. It's not worth it. Be safe. Don't drink and set off fireworks. Just gonna be the mom and throw that out there. But anyways, I'll see you guys next week. Bye everyone.